and I have an optimistic take on Alberto Mendoza going to Georgia Tech, and I'm going to share that with you. This is via a great sports pro who sent me this note, and I thought, you know what? That might be exactly what's happening. I like thinking like this. So I'm going to relay what and he didn't say to use his name. Sometimes he knows stuff, and he's pretty plugged in Atlanta. So this kind of makes sense a little bit, and I'm going to share it with you in a little bit. We're going to talk about Indiana football, and again, we're less than 36 hours removed from them winning the national championship. We know what's going to happen for the Saturday celebration. I'll share that with you. It's going to be colder than hell, and it's going to be outdoors. So bundle up, kids, and enjoy yourselves celebrating this team one more time. And there will be other celebrations, but they'll be years down the road. This is the last time you will see this team in its entirety in one place. There will always be a reason that one guy, two guys, three guys don't make it to subsequent reunions. That's just the way it works. It worked that way with the U.S. Olympic hockey team from 1980, and it's going to work that way with the Indiana Hoosiers circa 2025-26 when they won the national championship. We're going to talk about IU basketball. They got a beat down last night by Michigan, not unexpected. However, we try to remain optimistic about IU basketball because it benefits us in exactly zero ways if we don't. So we'll talk about that on this Optimism Wednesday. Indianapolis Colts, they got Senior Bowl appointments next week to go evaluate guys that maybe can help lift them next year. What are their priorities? Looking ahead to the April draft, what aren't their priorities? Where are they set? Where are they settled? This is going to be a really interesting offseason because they got holes, people, and they got holes all over the place if they don't re-sign their own free agents. But if they do re-sign their own free agents, where do you get better? How do you get better if they do that? Is it enough to assume that Daniel Jones is going to be healthy for 17 games, which is a poor assumption because that doesn't happen a lot, hasn't happened a lot in his career. We're going to talk about the Chicago White Sox of all teams. Luis Robert, gone, traded to the Mets. Finally, once and for all, the ill-fitting piece. I don't mean to generalize, but if I am a Major League Baseball general manager, I am not signing a guy from Cuba ever. Do these guys ever work out long term? The answer is no, they do not. And Luis Robert, the latest among them to not work out, he had one glorious season where he hit like 38 home runs. He is now the property and the problem of the New York Mets, trying to extract his great potential. Good luck with that. Sox picked up a couple of pieces. They might be useful. They might not be useful. We'll talk about that. Butler got the win last night against DePaul in Chris Holtman's return to Hinkle Fieldhouse. Not his first return, but a return nonetheless. We like Chris Holtman, so we celebrate his return while also celebrating a Butler win. And the Pacers, they played tonight against the Boston Celtics in Boston. And this will be a revenge game, I would assume, for Boston if they have any heart whatsoever, as the last time these two teams hooked up. Pacers got the win at Cambridge Fieldhouse. This is Breakfast with Kent for Wednesday. You know what? I gave the Wednesday birthdays yesterday, for God's sake. It was great. It was confusing to people. They thought, what? It's my birthday? I thought my birthday was tomorrow. And I didn't celebrate the Tuesday birthday people at all. We will remedy that today. But this is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. We're brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, the best dentist in the world, my only dentist the last 33 years. Make him your dentist today. Give him a call, 317-849-2933. Become a member today. Saturday, we have the membership hoedown, the Coffee with Kent. And it's just glorious. People come in and we talk about sports for a good half hour to 45 minutes, sometimes as long as an hour. As long as you've got questions and comments, we share them and have a great time. Only members involved in that. So Breakfast Buddies and all meal deal members, get to come and have some fun. And become a subscriber. When you become a subscriber, you're eligible to win prizes. To win a prize, you must be a subscriber and use the phrase that pays. And the phrase that pays in a comment, you got to use it. Phrase that pays today is let's run it back. That's IU football. IUFB, run it back. There you go. That's the phrase that pays. That gains you an entry into the next giveaway, which is going to be tomorrow afternoon for a beautiful, a $60, really, really nice national championship t-shirt, an extra large. So we're catering to the biggins. And smash the like, although extra large, it's not a biggin. Good heavens, what am I talking about? I'm a smallin. Who am I to categorize others as biggins? And please, if you want to make a donation, no big whoop. But please include a comment or a question that elevates the level of discourse on the channel. Saturday's Mixer with Ken. Yeah, Coffee with Ken, whatever. IUFB, run it back. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. Let's talk optimistically about Indiana sports because today is Optimism Wednesday. The Hoosiers have been to the mountaintop and understand the sacrifices needed to get there. That's coaching staff. That's the roster as it stands right now. These guys know what it takes. They've been there. It's a long slog. There are sacrifices that need to be made. Indiana willing to make them last year. Are they going to be willing to make them again next year? Especially during the offseason. You heard from Charlie Becker during postgame interviews talking about how the guys would just get together on their own, go to Mellencamp and work out, or go to Memorial Stadium, work out. They'd get on the field and run route trees, that kind of thing, and get better at their craft. Will that team in 2026 and hopefully 2027 be willing to make sacrifices like that? So Mendoza is a junior. Why can't he run it back again? He could run it back, but what is the point? Why would he do that when he was very likely to be the number one overall pick? That'd be kind of silly. No matter what Indiana pays him, if he winds up being a good pro, you want to get to that second contract after the 5th year. That's when you really start making the money. And Fernando Mendoza, while he's not greedy, he's been very generous with his NIL wealth. However, he's not stupid either. So I got to tell you, I would think seriously about coming back because I would not want to play for the Raiders under any circumstance. Alberto Mendoza. So he went into the portal yesterday, committed to Georgia Tech. A guy I've gotten to know a little bit in sports media texted me and said, you know what? How about this? How about Alberto Mendoza goes to Georgia Tech for a year to be the starting quarterback, comes back to Bloomington as the starter in 2027. This will help prepare him to play at Indiana that following year. That makes nothing but sense to me. That way it's not spurning Indiana. It's trying to build yourself in a way that allows him to come back and play for what has become his second home. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I like it. It's an Optimism Wednesday take. So I appreciate that. Thanks very much. Josh Hoover, let's talk about the guys coming in. Josh Hoover is a really good college quarterback. Really good for TCU last year. A winning quarterback. Nick Marsh, a really good wide receiver for Michigan State. Joe Brunner, a really good guard for Wisconsin. Best offensive lineman for that team. Turbo Richard, really good running back at Boston College. Probably the guy on that offense that made it go more than anybody else. A.J. Harris. A.J. Harris is a cornerback DB from Penn State. How about Tony Asunsanmi? He, an edge from Kansas State. Those guys coming in, really, really talented. Can they run it back and get to where they got? Look, they had to get breaks in 4 games to run the table and win that national championship. They're going to need a similar amount of breaks, and breaks don't come your way like they did in 2026 for teams very often, at least not for the Hoosiers, right? We'll see what happens next year, but they're going to be pretty damn good. They got some breaks this year. Next year, it's likely that the breaks turn on them, kind of like the Chiefs this year. Kind of like the Bears. The Bears the previous year in 2024 got no breaks. This past year, they got nothing but breaks. The Chiefs, exactly the opposite. They won all their one-score games, I think, in 2024. In 25, they lost damn near all of them. That's the way it goes in the National Football League. Kurt Signetti is never satisfied. This is not a guy who's going to go out and suddenly be in chunky soup commercials and go, hit the public speaking circuit. That's not what he's going to do. He makes enough money. $15 million a year is enough for Kurt Signetti with all them bonuses, and it had to be more than that with winning the national championship. That guy's pockets are filled, and I think they're filled to the brim, and I don't think that he values life based upon his ability to extract as much money from it as he can every single day. I don't want to spit. I'm not his accountant. I'm not his agent. But I think he'd rather sit in a chair and watch cut-ups of red zone offense than go catch a plane to Naples and speak to 500 people who work for a company and walk off with a check for $75,000. I don't think he's that kind of guy. Ken, are we getting Tucker Ashcraft from Wisconsin? I love Ashcraft from Wisconsin. Assuming some players come back and we get all these portal and HS players, we need a couple of more TEs, a couple of linemen. You know what? And Wisconsin is rife with guys who are very, very interested in the way people do things elsewhere. So that is for sure. We'll see. He was the reliable guy. He was the guy that Wisconsin quarterbacks could look to and expect to get catches out of. So we'll see what happens with Ashcraft. Let's talk about IU basketball. IU basketball, they lose to Michigan 86-72 in a game that wasn't that close. Right out the gate, Michigan came in and just blew Indiana's doors off. And then once Indiana settled, they got the lead down to 9 at one point, I think. And then it ballooned up to 20 and then back down to 14. There's no shame in losing to Michigan. But losing and not showing a lot of passion for the game, there is some shame in that. Indiana's going to have to get better. And Friday night, they got their opportunity in Parsippany, New Jersey, or Piscataway, one of the two. I think it's Piscataway, New Jersey, where they're going to play Rutgers at the rack. They're always tough at the rack. We'll see if Indiana can get the win. Toby says, I think people are overestimating the potential interactions between Tom Brady and Fernando Mendoza. If he's drafted by the Raiders, Brady won't be the full-time veteran GM. Not his job. No, it's not his job. You're exactly right, Toby. And Mark Davis is the owner, will be the owner, and is the problem, and will be the problem. And if I'm Mendoza, I'm not going to the Raiders because I am not going to be a victim of that problem. White Sox, they finally traded Luis Robert, a vat of misplaced potential. And he's been that forever. The 1 year, 2023, 222, he hit 38 homers, 90 RBIs, looked pretty good. He's been injured quite a bit. He's a bit of a hypochondriac, bit of an attitudinal type guy. You watch him play, you think, does he care about baseball at all? Well, now you don't need to worry about that if you're a White Sox fan. He's going to the Mets. The Mets are where all these lunatics land. Always. Potential means everything to the New York Mets, not productivity. They need to study at the elbow of Kurt Signetti. Productivity over potential every single time. Potential, meaningless. Because potential can wind up being Luis Robert, where over 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, he hit 102 home runs. Again, great potential. Potential does not win you ball games. Pacers tonight at Boston. That game at 7 o'clock. There are reasons for optimism for the Pacers next season. Halliburton being back, getting a top 5 pick, those things need to be the priorities of this team. Go get a great player to pair with Tyrese Halliburton and go win a championship. Let's celebrate birthdays, shall we? Birthdays yesterday. Bill Idelot, Sandra Chapman, Matt Wilkening, Brian Kramer, Shelley Cefali, Adam Ritz, Michael Barry, Chris Tooley, Rich Rennick, Christina Bolin Lane, Jeremy King, and Tim Johnson. Today's birthdays, who we celebrated yesterday, in error. We want to celebrate people's birthdays on the right days, for God's sake. Bailey Savage, Michael Music, Robert Taylor, Stacy Danbury, Alan Weems, Chris Okada, John Bowman, Mark Snow. John Bowman's done some really good work, really important in trying to make Lake Bluff, Illinois, a safer place for school kids. And we appreciate the hell out of John Bowman. Mark Snow, the great Britt McCrite, celebrating a birthday. Cindy Simon Scott, celebrating a birthday. Scott Long, and the great Tim Ring, celebrating a birthday. If today's your birthday, you celebrate like hell. If it's not your birthday, you celebrate somebody else. That's best done with an honest and specific compliment. Lift each other up. Don't pull each other down. We are giving away a cherry, beautiful, heavy-duty, great T-shirt to celebrate the IU National Championship. Doing that tomorrow. You want to become a subscriber to become eligible, and then use the phrase that pays, IU run it back. Let's do that. You're entered. We'll give it away via the fabulous prize wheel tomorrow afternoon. Radio show in exactly 1 hour and a half. So download the app, 98.7 The Zone or The Zone Bloomington, and or listen online, whatever you want to do. If you're in Monroe County, you can hear me on 98.7 The Zone. We'll talk to you later today. Can't wait. As always.